This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Polly Robinson Brown Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we are talking with AuBroncee Martin. Welcome, AuBroncee, to the Queen Lizzie podcast, episode number 153. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so very glad to be here.
I am so very glad to have you. In fact, I'm honored to have you to take time out to come in and talk to us, me, about Rosewood and about your plans. You're running for office, right. And I'll let you tell me.
Well, I'm glad that you gave me this invitation to come here.
Yes.
As you said, I'm currently running for Alachua County Court Judge, and quite often people aren't able to really wrap their heads around electing a judge because it happens rarely.
Okay.
It's not one of those. Just the way the system is designed, it's not necessarily one of those every 4-year things. And also, you have the situation where people elected judges. That doesn't make sense to me. So every opportunity that I get that I can go out there and speak to the public,
yes,
explain the justice system, because it's covered in so much mystique. I appreciate that opportunity.
Yes, it is. And I'm glad you said what you just said. The people don't understand. I don't understand. I'm glad you're here to share this with us. And I didn't know that you said it's not in every 4-year.
In the state of Florida, there are two ways in which judges reach the bench. You can elect it. The Constitution provides for election, Florida Constitution. However, the governor also has a responsibility to make appointments whenever there are vacancies.
Okay.
And the way the system in practicality works out, most judges in the system are appointed.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily by design, but practically so.
Okay.
That's how it happens. And the appointment system is not as public as the election system.
Okay, now when is the election? Let us know.
So the election is on August 18th.
Okay.
That's the primary. And since judges are non-partisan, typically the election is resolved in the primary.
Okay, and everybody, you just said
everybody can vote. And please do. Please come out and vote.
Please do vote. And voting is so important. My mom, 8th grade education, but she was a genius, okay? And she encouraged her grandchildren before she passed transition, make sure you vote. My dad said it's the only time we are equal.
Right.
When we vote. It's important you all get up, get out, and register. And don't say, oh, my vote doesn't count. It doesn't. If you don't vote, it's important that we vote. And your name is, again?
AuBroncee Martin, and I'm running for Alachua County Court Judge, and it's Group 5. The judges are divided up into different groups.
Right.
And so specifically, hopefully when you're able to vote for me, you'll be looking for my name. It's going to stick out, AuBroncee Martin,
exactly.
Group 5.
Okay. And I can't endorse anyone, but he is endorsing himself. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. And I am just so glad you're here because there are so many things. I remember once going to court with a neighbor. Her son had to appear in court. She was scared to death. I was on my way to work. Somebody called me and said she was a church member and said, Lizzie, you need to go to the courthouse now because so-and-so is there with her son and they're going to give him some time. I went. When she saw me walk in, her facial expression changed. She was just glad to see a church member. When I got there, I went there for support. She said to me, you come and you stand here at the podium with her, next to her. And when the judge asked her, Mrs., are you going to speak in support of your son? She said, no, Mrs. Jenkins is going to do it. Caught me off guard. He knew me, okay? And he asked me about him, tell me something about him. That's what she should have done. I said, well, we're church members. He plays the drums at my church. He is a good student. He is a good young man. Made a mistake. He comes from good stock. His grandparents own a farm. And guess what? He did not get time in jail.
Right.
He was let go. It's always good to know somebody that knows somebody. And it happened. And guess what? He's doing extremely well. I hear from him often.
Well, I'm glad to hear that worked out for that. There was a young man that you were talking about?
It was a young man.
Right. And, earlier, an individual, people have always say, well, what's the greatest strength and the greatest weakness of the justice system? And I always say the greatest weakness is that people are lack of understanding as to how the system works, a lack of trust in how the system works. But its greatest strength is that the system does work.
It does.
Right. The greatest strength is that, like the example you gave, judging can be hard, right there, because you also find that a lot of times issues are complicated, emotions are high, and people are not necessarily ever going to be happy with any result. But what a judge's job is to do is try to explore as much of the circumstances surrounding the issue so they can get a good understanding of what the appropriate choice should be under the law. And it sounded like that was a criminal case, and this applies across the board to any number of type of cases, but that judge was interested in what you had to say.
Exactly.
Who this person was, so they can make the best decision. And sometimes, once you collect all the information, the best decision is that this person may need to take a little break. Right there.
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise, it's not necessary for this person to have an extended period of time of incarceration. This person, you are delinquent in your debts. The landlord has rights, and you got to understand that nothing is in a vacuum. Right there. So your decisions are going to have impacts both ways. So this is why it's hard. You really have to be focused on collecting all the facts and recognizing that we are part of a larger community.
We are.
Every decision you make affects more than the litigants that are there. But at the same time, you have to just follow the law and really not be swayed by this person is unpopular, or this person, everybody likes them. That's what's so hard about that. You got to the scales of justice. That's why you got to hit that balance. And that's why you have to follow the law. That's why you have to listen. Right there, and that's why you can't necessarily be swayed by how you personally feel about any particular issue. Well, you just have to get the facts.
And it worked out for him.
Yes.
And he's continuing to progress, and he's doing what he needs to do.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. It doesn't happen every day. We know that. But like you say, it's the support. And he trusted me, and the judge had done his homework. So, he trusted me. And that's what you are going to...
Well, that's what I aspire to do. I've been an assistant public defender in this community for 28 years.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. And, one of the things I've learned is that, and this kind of goes across the board, because these are things when I spend a lot of time talking to kids, you have to kind of take an inventory of your life. What your talents, what your interests, what your experiences are, what your values are. And that will shape your trajectory in your life. And I've done that. I'm a work in progress. Nobody's perfect.
No one is perfect.
But it seems that my experiences, my values, my talents lead me in this direction to where I believe I can do the most good.
And kids these days, well, not just these days, kids can easily get on the wrong track, get involved. If you had to give the parents a suggestion as to what to look for in the home before their kids get involved, what would you say to them to be mindful of or watchful?
See, this is another thing that I've learned over the years. I don't think there are any cookie cutter answers to that.
Okay.
But what I
Okay.
gotta say is that you have to be present.
Okay.
You have to be an advocate for your child. You also have to, when you're be accountable for yourself and help your child be accountable for their actions. And how do you go about doing that? What's the path to that? Mm-hmm. It's probably different in every home, every instance. But I will tell you this: I think education is key, and it's not formal education is the laid out path. It's the easy path, but it's like you just say. My grandmother said, "There's probably more than one way to skin a cat."
I love that.
But the issue is the education. So, because one of the first thing I noticed when I was on the job is that when you are resolving a case through a plea. As I mentioned, I'm an assistant public defender. Mm-hmm. One of the questions, series of questions that you ask, in order to determine what is their level of understanding about the rights that they're waiving. Mm-hmm. Inevitably, when I get the question, how many years of education you had, you will be surprised how many of those folks were like 8th grade. And I was astounded. I was like, how did you get to the point to where you were allowed to get out of school in the 8th grade?
Okay.
And so that is an issue there. And like I said, there's more than one way to be educated, but you have to be educated.
That is so important, y'all. And I hope y'all are listening. Education is the key. And it starts at home. And I remember back in the 40s, the early 40s, we could not afford books in our house. Okay, but we got National Ballast, Hess, Sears and Roebuck, the Bible. Those were teaching
Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah.
Yes, later when we could afford it,
Right.
the man would come to the house, the distributor, and you would buy those encyclopedias on time. But we read it because it was so informative. But before then, Bible. I have the Bible that I first started to read from. My grandfather was a minister, and it was fun to read. So parents, it's your responsibility. The teacher is not responsible for teaching your child how to read.
And I agree with that. But I got to tell you, everybody has their own challenges.
Yes.
And what I'm hoping is that you have to be present.
Yes.
Right there. And
Yes.
do the best you can in your own way with the eye towards, I know this is what is going to be best for my child.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's important. And let's do it together. If you need help, reach out. There are so many organizations here in Alachua County that reach out to students
And I got to put a plug in because
Okay.
I'm a member of an organization,
Okay.
100 Black Men of
Yes.
Gainesville, and you've always been a real supporter of that.
Yes, yes.
And that's one of the key components of our philosophy
Right.
is what they see is what they will be. It
I
is
love
so important to model the behavior that we wish
Exactly.
to see out there in the community.
And you just finished an event, right?
Well, the big event was the Botillion Cotillion,
Yes, I was there.
which wishful thinking. Yes, ma'am, you were. I
I
remember
was
that.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. And it is so important to get involved. And you know what else? No, this was Image. What is it? Academy.
Mirror Image.
Mirror Image.
That's another one.
Mirror Image has, they have an organization. They have come to my farm twice, where we're going to build the Rosewood Museum twice. And all of these guys are telephone guys. I'm not saying it right, but everybody was on a telephone, Once they got to that farm, I didn't tell them. the directors or consultants, whomever was with them, they didn't tell them. They put those phones in their pockets, and they started walking the property, 29 acres, and they were different people. I didn't have to say anything to them. Well disciplined, they had a ball.
Just the environment of the farm?
The environment changed their entire attitude. I'm serious. The dirt, some of them got down in the dirt and was playing in the dirt. And we watched. We learned from them. So it's not, the environment definitely makes a difference. It's not all about the telephone, but the guys said to me, they are in-house kids. When they go home, they have television, telephone.
And they put the phones up. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
But I also got to say that the fact that you have the internet and this computer that we have in our pocket, it can open up worlds for people if it's used in the right way.
Exactly.
So I mean, I know I'm on the edge where you have to go to the library, but now you can look up anything you want on YouTube, the internet, and that's just a great thing if it's used properly.
It's great. I use it day and night. I don't think I sleep at night. I use my phone all the time. But that environment changed. We had donkeys. We got donkeys. In fact, I had a baby born a couple of days ago, so I'm a great-great-grandmother now to our donkeys. And goats, chickens, they had a ball. So this is what can happen when they are exposed. But I like what the 100 Black Men are doing and these other organizations. There are so many. So parents, reach out and find someone or an organization that you can be a part. It's about time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida and America's Black History.
And you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Welcome back to the Queen Lizzie podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier podcast room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with AuBroncee Martin. The Queen Lizzie podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are back, and we have AuBroncee Martin, and he is excited because he has a very special announcement that he wants to share with you before I talk about our sponsors, okay?
Thank you, Miss Lizzie.
You on.
I just want to remind everyone that I'm running for Alachua County Court Judge, and we are having our campaign kickoff on May 8th. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. and is at the A. Quinn Jones Museum for Culture, which is right across the street from the A. Quinn Jones Center. And let me get this address correct: 1013 Northwest 7th Street. And once that's May 8th, 5:30 to 7:30, the A. Quinn Jones Museum.
And follow him on Facebook.
Okay.
And your Facebook?
Okay, so it's AuBroncee Martin for Judge.com. Right there. So it's Facebook, AuBroncee Martin for Judge, and you'll see me. Right?
Okay, and make sure you're there so that I can meet you. I will, and I'm planning to be there if I don't have a conflict. Okay, now I'm going to talk about our sponsors, the Queen Lizzie podcast. I am so excited. This is our episode 153. I have been working this show since 2023. I'm not the best, but I think I'm great at doing this. One thing I enjoy it so much, I really do. And our sponsors are great. Steve Spurrier, we are in his podcast room as we speak. And he is the greatest. Very humble, very supportive of Rosewood and its history. And they are supportive because they know that I put in the work to do the research, okay, and make sure everything I say to bring to you all is true, okay? I never attack anyone about I call it uncomfortable or hard history. You are not responsible for the Rosewood history. As my mom said, you didn't create it and they didn't create it. Tell it, baby. Those are her words. Tell the truth, research, document, and draw people to you. People like to hear the truth, and that's what I do. And as I was saying, I think Steve Spurrier, Meldon Law is off the chain. Meldon Law has been a friend before I was hired. I don't know if I was hired. No, I wasn't hired because I don't get paid. Before I became the podcast queen, okay, Meldon Law has been there. And plus the fact he has podcasts also, and I have been on his show more than once. And Freddie Weeby is the last friend that I met who is a sponsor. And Freddie is from Africa, Ghana, Africa, and relocated here in Gainesville. Heard the Rosewood story when he was, I think he said 15, well, when he was in 5th grade, maybe 13, in Ghana, living in Ghana, and did a book report. And Fred, I want you to know I'm still waiting on that book report so I can put it in my book. Thank you. But anyway, when he got here and we met, because I'm very involved in community activities. I think we were doing the Alzheimer's show, and I saw this young man, Ilio, and I said to Freddie, I had just met Freddie, he didn't know anything about Rosewood. I said to Freddie, I'm going to talk to this young man and ask him to do a podcast show for me. Freddie said, podcast? We have a podcast there at Spurrier's. I said, really? He said, yes. Would you like to be on our show? And being on his show, on the podcast show, has put me in this position to have my own podcast. Thank you, Freddie, very much, okay? And Campus USA Credit Union, we have Jerry Benton there as the executive director. Thank you to the 4 of you for being my number 1 supporters on this podcast. And remember, remember the brunch from 11 till 1, 3. From 11 till 3. It's the best in town. Whenever I'm available, I come here and I eat. The best food. Would you agree?
Oh, I love the breakfast brunch. So.
Yes.
You say I love a lot of food.
How would I know that? Okay. Yes, indeed. But it's good food, and they are good people. Okay. And I appreciate y'all again. But when Freddie wanted me to make sure that Rosewood history stay alive, so I tell my Rosewood history. I tell my story. My mom said to me, and by the way, all of my encouragement came from my mother. I remember the first time she sat me down to talk to me about doing what I'm doing now. She said, well, I want you to tell the story of Rosewood. It needs to be told. If we forget our history, baby, I was still her baby, you know what is going to happen. If we don't tell it and keep it alive, it's going to be repeated. I said to her firmly, Mom, I don't want to do it. And she said, if I was younger, I'll do it. And I wanted to say to her, do it. I told her, Mom, it's going to be painful. It's going to take up all of my time. And I just don't want to do it. So I'm doing it because she begged, and when I say begged, she did. Why? Her sister was the Rosewood school teacher, suffered the agony of defeat, gang raped, beat, broken finger, and she never got over the pain, and my mom wanted me to continue to share it. The last people I had on the show were the Askews, and I was sharing this with Mrs. Askew, Ashley, and she said to me, when I told her how painful it was, she said, well, that's good. And I looked at her like, what do you mean good? I didn't say it because I didn't want to interrupt her. She said, it's good that you feel the pain, because if you didn't feel it, you would not continue it. You feel it, we all feel it, and we're going to support you. It really made sense. It made my day, and it made me proud to know that she was listening, and people are listening, and that is exactly what I am doing, continuing the pain for others to gain a sense of knowledge about what happened. So, Mom, this is for you. And you know what else my mother told me?
What?
She said, you need a song. She said, baby, I know you can't sing. But Mama's going to write you a song.
Okay.
My mom wrote the lyrics in like 2 minutes, 12 verses. But the most 3 important verses she told me to make sure I share each time I speak, if I don't share the entire song, because the song is long, like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. She said, these 3 verses are more important for people to know than anything else, and I'm going to share them with you.
Okay.
And it goes like this. The Cedar Key train conductors were told to pick up in Rosewood. Standing by the tracks with the lantern, its young school teacher stood, waiting in desperation to carry out the sheriff's plans, rounding up the hidden survivors to board the midnight train. The sheriff and the store owner worked around the clock, oh Lord, informed the train conductors just when and where to stop, pick up the men, women, and children who were hiding out, and bring them to Archer, Florida, traveling the same old route. Bob Walker and John Wright took on a daring risk, put the survivors on the train, Lord, and sent them off with a kiss. Notified the Gainesville families to be on the lookout for their kin. Told them the train was a-coming and told them exactly when. I told you I couldn't sing. But the message is there.
The message, there you go.
The message is
Right.
there. And you know, many years ago, we did our storytelling in song by writing songs. Like,
Griots. Yeah.
yeah. Swing low, sweet chariot. That's a song that everybody don't know what it means. Okay? Who was that? Harriet Tubman? Coming to carry you home. She was sneaking it.
Signal. Right.
Signal,
Yeah.
right, yeah. And many, many, many other songs that we have written, composed over the years, telling of the story songs. So I just wanted to share that. And I have some activities that's coming up. I am super, super, super busy. So I get calls too all the time. But let me tell you about my latest call was Thursday. Was Saturday. I was sitting home. I may have the days wrong. And I got this call from 2 ladies. And they said, Mrs. Jenkins, is this the Rosewood Foundation? I said, you're speaking to the president of the real Rosewood Foundation. Well, we just left Rosewood, and now we're at 159 Southwest 59th Avenue. I said, that's my address. And she said, well, we're in front of your yard. And we want to see you. I said, well, I'm in bed resting. They said, get out of bed because we've driven from Gainesville. But it's all because they care. I jumped out of bed. I went out there. Guess what? They had brought food, greens cooked in a jar, sweet potatoes baked, cornbread. And guess what? They said, now, do you have a table? I said, John, I need a card table. John brought out a card table and a tablecloth. We set dinner, food on that table, and we ate. And they said it's for the Rosewood ancestors, and we're going to leave some food on the ground for them. I said, oh my God, where are these people coming from? But so many people are interested in Rosewood. And now we're big friends. and they want to work and do what I'm doing, help do what needs to be done. And before then, I got a call from Cedar Key, the Historical Museum in Cedar Key. Said, we need you to speak on the 4th of May. I said, why the 4th of May? They said 32 years ago, Governor Bush came there. You brought Governor Bush to Rosewood to dedicate the Rosewood Historical Marker. I said, now how do these people know this? People are reading. People know what's going on. And they are keeping me, not informed, but keeping me on target to let me know and to let the other people know what needs to be done. So we're going to be celebrating 32 years since the Rosewood marker was placed in Rosewood, and I thought that was very interesting. And I feel really, really proud to be able to work with people doing stuff, and all of them have the same thing in mind for the next generation. They all say that our young people don't know. Well, they don't know, they haven't been taught, and they are saying that collectively we are going to teach them. Okay, and I don't have a problem with that. I talked about that. Oh, and on May 25th is my aunt's 132nd birthday. It's Memorial Day, but as we speak, we are planning something to do in recognition of her birthday. Okay, because she never got over the pain that she suffered, and I live it daily. And people ask me, Liz, do you ever cry? So I cry all the time. Every time I tell the speech, I go home, get into bed, decompress, and cry. And I do. I just find myself crying. But it's I don't know if it's the pain releasing or not, but it's memory. And it's not, and I'll say this to you truthfully, it's not easy. It's not easy to carry the pain, but I do it. And people think, oh, Liz, you're doing good. I am. But that's my life now. It has become a part of who I am. And I think that's all I wanted to say. Is there anything else that you would like to say? Closing remarks or whatever?
You know, I just appreciate this time, the conversation that we had, what I've learned.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I do want to remind folks about the kickoff.
Yes.
It's May 8th.
Yes.
And it's really important that individuals think about this like any other election. And come out, and I hope to earn your support in the future.
Thank you. And I agree. We need to get it together, y'all. I tell people, my husband and I talk often. We don't always listen to the news now. But we know one thing. It is scary. We need change. Okay? It's different. Even it feels different. Okay? So please be there. I want to meet you. We are in this together. All right? And I am going to ask you if you would be kind enough to read my closing remarks.
Oh.
And instead of Lizzie, Queen Lizzie, add your name. Say your name.
Okay. On behalf of Queen Lizzie, I am continuously humble, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode. I am AuBroncee Martin. Until next time, bye.
Bye. Thank you.